minutes. Deputy Donnelly.
I'd like to welcome the Citizens' Assembly on drug use. This is something that has needed to happen for many years, and can I commend all of those who campaigned and who worked hard to get this far, and acknowledge that there is no one single voice on this issue. And whilst we're talking about a Citizens' Assembly, I'd like to also call on the Government to stop dragging its heels and to establish a Citizens' Assembly on Irish unity as soon as possible, to give all the people a say on the future of our island. Drug misuse and abuse destroys individuals, families and communities. For many decades there has been one way in tackling the issue of mind-altering illegal and abused legal drugs. Our fractured communities, our struggling and ever-expanding drug support services have had enough, I think, of the so-called war on drugs, which in effect means a war in working-class communities. It has led to a criminalisation of a vast amount of young and older people who have been left with criminal records, and has affected the entirety of their lives. I welcome that we are looking at international best practice, and I look forward to some of the models now used across the world being explored and discussed, and how we can use some of those best practice and adapt it to an Irish context. I acknowledge that the Citizens' Assembly will be looking at the lived experience of young people and adults affected by drug use, as well as their families and communities. I hope that we also look at the lived experience of young and, again, older people around non-problematic drug use, and we need to hear the voice of those who use drugs on a recreational basis. It's important that that voice is heard also in this debate. It's recognised the world over that we can never rid our communities of drugs, but the Citizens' Assembly can chart a way forward that will help get rid of the blight of drug debt intimidation, local, national and international drug gangs who maintain their iron grip on our communities through murder, violence and intimidation. I hope that the Citizens' Assembly can help get us to where communities' voice is heard again and respected. As someone who was involved in the establishment of the Drugs Task Force a good number of years ago, also community-led, community drug projects, therapeutic and youth supports, I know that the community-led approach works. And a lot of us know this in this room as well. And unfortunately, in the last 10 years at least, that has certainly been very challenging. I'd like to commend all those working on the coalface, supporting those with problematic drug use and supporting young people, especially those, again, on the local drugs task force, the family support networks, the brilliant work of our community drug teams in Dublin 15. We have a Tolka River rehabilitation programme, our counselling services in Genesis and Blanchardstown Community Services, our youth services such as Feroga, MYP and BMYI in Mountfew and Blakestown, and all those mothers and fathers, families and the unpaid community activists who keep the struggle going to help and support people who are addicted to drugs and who are in recovery. And finally, I'd like to ask members to support Deputy Gold's 2 amendments to this bill. Gura Míle Mágad.